Why did Jimin suddenly disappear after Jungkook revealed an unexpected secret? Is this the end of a long-established relationship? Find the answers in this emotionally suspenseful narrative. Don't forget to leave your comments, like, and subscribe so you don't miss the next news. What exactly did Jungkook say to make Jimin leave without a word? Why did a moment that should have been a warm reunion turn into a silent farewell that left a wound in the hearts of fans? Everything that happened seems like pieces of a puzzle that don't match, until the last piece appears and makes everything feel painful and unbelievable. This incident started not from a press conference, nor from a live broadcast or social media upload, but rather from a simple, seemingly ordinary moment, a personal interview recorded in a closed studio. Jungkook, with a serious look and a tone of voice that held back emotions, began a sentence that instantly changed everything. "I've kept it for too long, and I think it's time." The sentence seemed to hit a defensive wall that had been built tightly by their relationship. No one expected that a statement from Jungkook could have such a quick and dramatic impact. When video footage of the interview leaked and spread, it only took a few hours before Army, who is usually cheerful and supportive, turned into a sea of questions and tears. What is actually revealed? And why did Jimin choose silence and then leave? Sources close to Jungkook said the statement touched on the most sensitive part of their personal lives. He said it wasn't to hurt, said one of the production staff, but because he was tired of pretending that everything was fine. The sentence, like a double-edged knife, on the one hand a form of honesty, on the other hand it can mean a betrayal of the trust built over the years. The next day, Jimin did not appear on the schedule they were supposed to attend together. No message. There are no signs. And none of the team can reach him. Even his personal manager claimed not to know where Jimin went. He left the dorm without saying goodbye, without carrying a lot of things. Only a small bag and a blanket covered his face. Security cameras in the lobby recorded the time of his departure at 2:37 in the morning. The big question began to arise among fans. Is this a momentary emotional reaction? Does Jimin just need some alone time? Or is this really the end of their story that has been cherished by millions of people? What makes things even more complicated is Jungkook's response after the incident. In his live broadcast a few days later, he was noticeably quieter than usual. Several times his eyes were teary, but he refrained from crying. He responded to a fan comment in a low voice. "Sometimes, honesty comes with its own consequences. But I still want to protect her in my own way." Many suspect that the secret that Jungkook uncovered was something related to Jimin's past that had been hidden from the public. Maybe about his family. Probably about important decisions that he once took secretly. Or maybe something that involves personal feelings towards those closest to him, including Jungkook himself. But no one can be sure because the original recording was never released in its entirety. Suspicions began to lead to HYB. Does the company really not know? Or are they just trying to keep everything under control? Some of the former staffers began to open up, and their admission shocked everyone. "There has been tension since last year," said one of the staff who had worked under the creative division. "They both look familiar on camera, but when the lights go out, they're like two polar opposites. And to be honest, everyone in the office knows that one of them keeps something." The signs were now beginning to be evident, but everyone at that time chose not to see them. Probably because it was not ready. Maybe because I wish everything could be solved on its own. But like a time bomb, everything eventually explodes. In a follow-up interview that was recorded before Jimin left, Jungkook said one sentence that has now gone viral on various platforms. "I knew he would be angry, but I'm more afraid he's living a lie." The sentence was flooded with comments. Some considered Jungkook a daredevil. Others criticized him for opening something that should have remained the private property of both of them. Fans split. Some cry because they feel deprived of the ideal image of their closeness. Some were angry because they felt Jungkook was acting rashly. But there are also those who begin to realize that the entertainment world too often pressures its artists to continue to look perfect, until they forget that they are also ordinary people with conflicts and wounds. Meanwhile, Jimin's whereabouts remain a mystery. Some claim to have seen him at the airport. There are also those who claim to have seen him in a small temple outside the city. But there is no official confirmation. Just a cryptic message allegedly sent by Jimin via a Japanese fanbase account, with the short sentence, "I'm fine, but please give it time." There were also rumors that Jimin refused to return to the dorm despite being invited by several other members. Even V, who was known to be very close to Jimin, uploaded an old photo of the two of them with the caption, Time cannot be repeated, but it can be understood. A sentence that adds a layer of emotion to the fans who are trying to find the meaning behind each action. HYBE finally issued an official statement that sounded diplomatic. We respect the personal decisions of each of our artists. The situation is being handled internally, and we ask the public not to speculate too much out of respect for their privacy. But the statement actually made the rumors even bigger. Many feel that internal handling is a code that the real situation is much more serious than they can imagine, especially with the emergence of evidence that the leaked video footage is most likely from the company's own internal. Now, all eyes are on two things: Jimin's whereabouts and Jungkook's next decision. Will they make peace? Or will this be one of the most painful emotional farewells in the history of Korean entertainment? And the biggest question that remains unanswered: what exactly was the secret that made Jimin choose to leave without a word? One thing is for sure. Human relationships, let alone those seen and judged by millions of eyes, are never as simple as they seem on screen. And when the line between honesty and protection becomes blurred, then even injuries become inevitable. To date, Jimin has not returned. Jungkook has not yet issued a clarification, and HYBE is still silent. The army? They remain to wait, hoping that one day, whether in front of the camera or behind the scenes, this story will meet an honest, human, and understanding ending. ChatGPT. There is one part of this story that until now has not been covered by any media because it is too sensitive, but an internal source very close to the two gave a shocking leak. It is said that the secret that Jungkook uncovered was not only about Jimin's past, but also about major decisions that were once taken by the two secretly, without the knowledge of other members or the agency. A verbal agreement that takes place behind the scenes, in their most vulnerable moments as two best friends, or maybe more than that. What Jungkook said wasn't just, "I want to be honest." Rather, "I'm already tired of pretending that we are just colleagues." It was that sentence, which was not included in the public footage, that was said to be the main trigger. Jungkook, who had always looked calm, was harboring a deep emotional burden. He feels that the world has never given him the space to express the true relationship he has with Jimin. And when he finally spoke, it was like blowing up all the pressure that had been pinned up for so long. Some of the staff admitted that after the shooting ended, the atmosphere of the studio changed dramatically. Jimin immediately stood up, did not say a word, and then left the room. Even the crew was silent for a while, not knowing if this was part of the scenario or a very personal reality. And from that moment on, their communication was rumored to be completely broken. Jimin didn't just leave the dorm. He even blocked all lines of communication from Jungkook. Even more surprising, some fans with heightened sensitivity found that Jimin had deleted or archived several old posts showcasing his closeness to Jungkook. Photos from the concert, moments of laughter behind the stage, to the birthday video that had been a favorite of the army, suddenly disappeared. This sparked an explosion of speculation that it wasn't just their working relationship that cracked, but also the emotional bond that had been established since their debut. Some large fanbase accounts from abroad even decided to stop promotional activities about the two at the same time, as a form of respect for each other's feelings. Others, however, see it as just a tactic, a strategy to increase public curiosity ahead of the big comeback that is planned to be implemented later in the year. But the news is getting hotter. An insider claimed that before Jimin left the dorm, there was a heated confrontation between himself and one of HYBE's executives. Jimin is said to have balked at the company's plans to make this emotional moment part of its latest album promotion strategy. He feels that his personal pain is being exploited. He felt betrayed by the person who was supposed to understand and protect him. And if that wasn't enough to shake things up, another horrifying fact just leaked by a former logistics staffer. The full tape of Jungkook's confession wasn't actually just about Jimin. He also mentioned the names of Jimin's family members, and that's what makes everything can no longer be pulled back. Jungkook mentioned that for years, he kept a secret about the pressure Jimin felt from his own family, especially from his father. In the recording, Jungkook says, "I heard directly from his father that the entertainment world is not a place for overly sensitive men. But look who raised their family name all this time." The sentence, considered too personal and offensive to the honor of the family, was the final straw for Jimin. Not only did he feel hurt, but he also felt betrayed by the person he trusted as the only one he could rely on. For him, Jungkook is not just a friend, not just a partner on stage, but also a figure he trusted more than anyone. Jimin reportedly cried for hours in the room before leaving. One cleaning staff member even said he heard the sound of broken glass coming from Jimin's room the night he left. But due to HYB's strict privacy policy, none of the staff dared to go any further. Now, the public is faced with two sides of the narrative. On the one hand, Jungkook is considered a courageous figure who freed himself from the pressure of hiding behind a false image. But on the other hand, he is also labeled as a traitor who chooses the worst time to reveal something that not only hurts Jimin, but also touches a very personal realm. Jimin, who has always been known as a gentle and empathetic figure, now chooses the silent path. It does not reciprocate, not refute, not defend. And perhaps because of this, the impact is even stronger. His departure became a symbol of resistance to treatment that he considered excessive. His departure became a silent sound louder than any cry. Meanwhile, more crazy rumors began to appear. Some claim that there is a chance that Jimin will leave the group if this situation cannot be corrected. Some have even said that she has been offered exclusive solo contracts by major labels from outside Korea. And oddly enough, HYBE has not given an official rebuttal. As the world waits for clarification, all that remains is speculation, tears, and a sense of loss. Fans from different countries launched a Comeback Jimin campaign on social media, while others demanded that Jungkook give an open apology. But the question remains, is everything still fixable? Or has Jungkook's honesty really opened a Pandora's box that can no longer be closed? It's not just about two idols. It's about how fame can twist relationships, how pressure can make the line between truth and betrayal blur, and how one sentence can change the destiny of two hearts that were once each other's strength. And at a time when the public is still trying to understand the emotional side of Jimin's departure, one other leak came out that really rocked. A partial transcript of the original recording that has never been shown to the public. In the transcript, which allegedly came from HYB's internal editing room, it is clear that Jungkook mentioned something that no one, not even the most ardent fans, had discussed. "I know what he's afraid of," Jungkook said in a slightly trembling voice. He was afraid that people would find out that we had made a mutual decision to leave the group, but I changed my mind. And he can never forgive that. The words were like a roar that snatched at the calm sky. No one was prepared to hear that two of BTS's most popular, closest, and most iconic members were ever planning to leave the group at the same time. More than that, the fact that Jungkook changed his decision unilaterally and let Jimin stand on his own in the midst of uncertainty is arguably the greatest form of betrayal no one has ever imagined. After the piece circulated through fanbase accounts claiming to have gotten it from laid-off interns, public opinion changed drastically. Jungkook, who had previously gained sympathy for his courage to speak the truth, is now considered a figure who defected from the secret deal, leaving Jimin under tremendous pressure without the slightest protection. It was also reported that Jimin's decision to stay with the group after the plan failed was the result of long negotiations between himself and Bang Se-hyuk. In an unofficial document reportedly leaked from HYB's internal meetings, it was stated that Jimin had asked HYB to provide guarantees that certain things would never be made public, including his family problems, mental health pressures, and plans to quit the group. But unfortunately, the request was not fully complied with. Even more surprising, several sources from senior staff revealed that Jungkook's decision to divulge the secret was not without encouragement. It is strongly suspected that the management put subtle pressure on Jungkook, pushing him to be more open in order to boost his honest and mature image ahead of BTS's next documentary project. That is, the decision to tell the truth may not be purely a personal initiative, but the result of systematic manipulation designed to touch the hearts of the public at the expense of the feelings of his own best friend. The public began to wonder if all this time they were smiling together, hugging each other on stage, reading warm letters at concerts, and then singing looking at each other in concerts. Was all this just a farce? Has the world been treated to the illusion of true friendship filled with hurt, disappointment, and secrets in silence? Even more poignant was when some fans realized that their last performance together at a concert late last year turned out to have invisible cues. In the moment where Jimin hugged Jungkook, his expression no longer showed the happiness it used to. He looked straight ahead, without a smile, as if his body was present there, but his soul was already too tired. Pieces of the video are now being dissected by thousands of fans and observers, as if they want to find out, When exactly did everything start to crack? Public anger is now no longer only directed at Jungkook, but also at the Korean entertainment system, which is called too cruel to the artist. How can an artist who is experiencing internal stress, emotional burnout, and personal betrayal still be asked to perform flawlessly on stage? Even when he knows that everything that was built during this time can collapse because of just one statement, Jimin didn't just leave the dorm. He also reportedly rejected all scheduled promotional activities. There were even reports that he canceled an endorsement contract with one of the international brands just days before the big campaign began. The brand is reportedly disappointed, but Jimin insists that he does not want his face to be used to mask a reality that is not to his heart's content. But the biggest surprises have not stopped. One of BTS's former music producers anonymously gave a confession that left the public frozen. In the recording sessions of the previous album, he overheard a conversation between Jimin and Jungkook when they were alone in the studio room. "If you stick to your decision, I'll go," Jimin said. Then Jungkook replied quietly, "Maybe that's what's best for both of us." The conversation took place more than a year ago, but the impact is felt only now, because the public just knows that this conflict is not something sudden. It has grown slowly in silence, in a false embrace, in love songs that hide crying. And when finally everything broke to the surface, no one could restore anything. The question now is, where is BTS going without the bond that has been its foundation? Can the public still separate music from their personal drama? And more importantly, will Jimin return?